understanding how widgets work in Kingshot can completely change how you play the game. For free-to-play or any kind of spenders, there is still a lot of stuff that's important to understand about widgets. So today I'll give you everything there really is to know, as well as clarify where does it actually work and which one should you invest into, no matter what kind of player you are. The first thing to understand about widgets, every legendary, so that's orange hero, has one, and they are exclusive. So you can see down here, this is the Aegis of Fate for Amadeus. They go from level 1 to 10, and you also start with them locked. So you need to unlock them to activate them, and then you will be able to level them up to level 10. Now you can see that they all have one as legendary heroes. However, if I go to a purple hero like Chenko, there is no widget, and that's the same for any hero that's purple or blue. Only the orange legendary heroes have widgets. Every widget also gives exclusive skill. So when you have it not unlocked, it doesn't do anything. When you unlock it, you get stats. So conquest stats, that's for the arena as well as conquest battles. That's down here, conquest. So this kind of game mode with these troops, that's where the conquest stats apply and the conquest skill applies. So they all have a conquest skill, and you can see here for Amadeus, it reduces damage taken by 30%, and they all have a certain variation of boost attack damage. They are very good. Conquest and Arena, though, is something that most people don't really care about, except if you're a whale. So, I mean, this is not the reason to get the widget. Now, the other part of a widget is Expedition. So, Expedition is open world. That is for anything that you do in outside of the field. So, that includes basically most events, almost all events, and PvP, KVK, and stuff like that. So, you gain infantry lethality and infantry health. That is very good, and as you can see, these are very, very high amounts of boost. This is 125% stats from this widget. That's massive, massive amounts of stats. So widgets, extremely important. However, one thing to understand is that the expedition skill that it gives you only works for rally or garrison. What does that mean? So you can see right here, Amadeus's attack, blah, 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 increase rally squad attack by 15% when initiating a rally. Now, next, we go to Marlon, when initiating a rally. Next, Petra, when initiating a rally. That is most of the time, or actually all of the time, going to be when rallying, or, as I said, Garrison. So Zoe increased defender's squad attack by 5%. Now, how do you defend? You garrison a building, a flag, a castle, your city, anything like that. If you're in the open field, let's say this is my enemy and I'm attacking, I can rally it or I can attack it. Same as any of these march, I can attack them, right? If I'm sending an attack like this, one march with 3 heroes, it's an attack. This means absolutely nothing will happen considering my widgets, at least the skill. The stats still work, but the skill does not work. So this is one little march just going attacking one little area. On the other hand, if I go here and I do rally and I have these heroes that are rallying, well, the widget will apply if they say rally attack. So you are only going to get their widget's skill that say rally to work if you're rallying. So this brings me to my next major point. There are legendary heroes who have widgets for offensiveness. There are legendary heroes who have widgets for defensiveness. So Zoe does not have anything when you rally. If you rally with Zoe, you are not getting this skill because this is Defender's squad. So rallying with Zoe is wasting her widget. Now, again, stats are great and you are going to get stats, but the skill is also very massive. And these stats are going to be pretty high percentages that are very good for your march, especially on the high end for whales and attacking KVK castle and stuff like that. Now, other heroes like Petra, like Amadeus, like Marlon have rally squad attack. So this means that all of the heroes are either rally heroes or garrison heroes. Now in the open field, when making an attack against a target, it doesn't matter if you use Amadeus or if you use Zoe because the rally skill doesn't do anything. So for single attack, you're using your best hero no matter what. If you are going to be rallying anything, you are going to be using your 3 best heroes that have rally widgets that you have unlocked. Now, most people won't have everything unlocked to the max, and that's fine. However, there are going to be many people who have max widgets. Those are the people who should be rallying, and all 3 heroes selected should be having rally widgets. Amadeus is the best infantry hero for rallying because he's one of the only heroes who has a offensive widget. Now we're going to review who has what in a little bit, but this is why Amadeus is so good. Marlon, on the other hand, also is very good at rallying because he has an offensive widget. When you look at other alternative for archers, for example, you have Saul. Saul has a defender's troop attack. So it's good for defending, doesn't do anything when you're rallying. Hagar also has a defensive one. You go here, I don't even have it unlocked, but defender squad held by 5%. So when I'm rallying, even if I have my Jaeger at 6 stars and super good gear, the widget doesn't do anything for rallying. So I want to rally with heroes that have a rally widget. Now, on the other hand, if you're in your town and you go into this little building, the guard station, this is your city defense. Right now, if someone attacks me, all 3 of these heroes have a rally widget, which is going to give me a boost for rallying, but they don't have a skill for defending. So this means that I'm wasting percentages of stats because these heroes' skill doesn't do anything. I should technically level up my Soul or level up my Jaeger. In this case, my Soul would be better. And then I should have also Jabel or Hild, which also has a defensive one. And I should have Zoe here. Obviously, if you have this one leveled up, he is even better. Now, that means that I should have them leveled up. I should have gear on them. So I should switch my gear from all these 3 heroes that are geared and put it on these guys. This means that they are going to be your defenders. Now, of course, that doesn't mean you have the widgets unlocked and stuff. So this is something to understand. You don't have to have every widget and everything unlocked, but it's just understanding this basis for the game really will change a lot because you otherwise could technically waste a lot of resource on widgets that really bring in no value. If you are in an alliance where you do nothing but join or garrison, which to be honest is the case for 95% of players because the people who are going to rally important objectives are going to be rally leaders who are going to be whales. So if you're a strong player in your alliance and you rally certain objectives sometimes, then you want to have one kit of rally leading widgets and heroes. If you're a joiner, someone who joins a rally all the time because you have a big whale who is rallying stuff. So in KVK, that's 4 towers and a middle. There's probably 5 rally leaders, maybe up to 10, depending on multiple rallies. If you're not part of that 10 and you're joining the defense or joining the rally, well, the widgets do nothing for joining. If you're joining anything, absolutely no point. The widget does absolutely nothing whatsoever. It doesn't take your stats into account, so the stats are useless. The skills are from your rally leader or the rally garrison leader, so anything that you do doesn't matter. You don't need widgets if you're joining. However, defending, even if you're not a whale, you will defend. So your city can get attacked in KVK. In Swordland or Eternity's Reach, people can attack you. So that's the advantage of the garrison aspect is you can garrison your city, but you can also garrison a lot of other stuff. So if I go into like a flag, this one is my alliance, I can go and garrison. I send a troop here. This means that in this building, I will have a troop. That means that someone who attacks this, well, I am now a defender. And all the widgets that say defender squad boost will work because I am now defending. Defender squad, it says it right here. The same can be said in your city, as I said, but also if you find your castle like this, the plain HQ, garrison. Anytime you're garrisoning anything, you are going to become a defender. Even when you are in the open field, technically, if you occupy a spot, now I'm not 100% sure of that one, but you technically get attacked, so you're defending. So defending, the rally for defense work. Now that's the same as when I said in KVK, and that's really where it's important, to be honest. Like if you're doing KVK, well, all of these towers are being rallied, but you are defending them. You can also get attacked by solo marches, which are pretty pointless, to be honest, but can do a little bit of something. But then the defense as well in the middle, that's garrisoning. So in Swordland, there's so many points to occupy, you're garrisoning all of them. So if you're a person in your alliance that doesn't do rally because you're not a whale, that doesn't mean you won't ever garrison. That means that you might want to focus on garrison widgets. So maybe you don't want to level up Marlon's widget because if you're never rallying anything important other than bear, and like for sure it has some impact on bear, and bear is important. So this is one of the places where, investing maybe in some widgets can be good, but widgets is expensive. So something to consider. But otherwise, you might spend your money a little bit better by investing in the garrison widgets only. In my case, I haven't done that, but I will in the future for the G4 heroes. Like Zoe is an amazing defender. You can use her. She is better than Amadeus at defending because Amadeus's widget doesn't do anything. Now, Amadeus is still a better hero for other reasons in most cases, but defending your city, Zoe is better. That's why you'll see Wells attack the castle with Amadeus, Marlin, and Petra in like the first 3 seasons. And then, as soon as they capture the castle, they'll switch. It will become Eric, Jaeger, and Hild. Now, Hild is G2 and Petra is G3, but Petra has an offensive widget and Hild has a defensive widget, and she is the strongest defensive at G3. So this is why it's important to understand widgets in general. Attacking, widgets, don't do anything if you're solo attacking. Rallying, that's when it matters. If you're not a whale, you're not rallying like almost ever, except for bear. So keep that in mind if you're investing in widget. Now, if you're free to play, defense is something you will do a lot less than others, but you still could do. And then if you're a medium spender to low spender, even dolphin level spender, having a good defense setup will be good because your rally leader is busy rallying. And that means that lower players who are still strong will be defending. So building yourself a setup of defender will bring more value to your game than anything else, because really, other than rallying bear, there's really nothing you will do. So of course I rally bear and I invest money in this game, so I have leveled up some of these widgets, even though you can see they're not level 10. But Amadeus is the only infantry that has a offensive widget in the entire game, except Helga, who also has an offensive widget. But Amadeus is a better hero because he also has more offensive skills, while Helga also is, she's good. They're both good, but Amadeus is better. Now, this is why you'll see a lot of people use Amadeus until a long time. At some point, G4, G5, the amount of stats difference between a G1 hero and a G5 hero becomes so massive that he could get replaced, but not for bear. Now, as a reminder, you don't want to level up a lot of sets of gear. Usually, you would have 3 invested sets of gear. So 1 infantry, 1 archer, 1 cav. That means you don't want to have yellow numbers on any other sets of gear. You can still give a few levels, but yellow numbers, unless you're aware, of course, you don't want them because that means you're wasting your forge hammers, and when you get a refund, it's only half. The levels, doesn't matter, you get full refund. So you have 3 major good sets of gear. Well, those 3 sets of gear will need to be moved around. If you're defending and garrisoning, put these sets of gear on the heroes that you're going to be using to defend and garrison. If you're rallying something, put it on those rally heroes. So this is something you have to really manage because it is important and it will make a big difference. But coming back to the topic of free-to-play versus spenders, well, for free-to-play, you're not going to be able to get level 10 widgets like this. This is not going to happen. But you will be able to get one, maybe level 5, level 6, level 7 if you play smartly. And usually you'll get 1 per generation where you'll get some levels. So if you look at the levels here, you unlock these skills up to level 5 each. So that means if I look at my level 8, you have 2 skills at level 4. So for example, level 1, that means you have some stats, which are very low, and you have the first skill, which is the conquest skill. So you need them to be at level 2 to really unlock their skill. So looking at, for example, my soul, he has level 2, so basic stats, and he has unlocked both skills. Now this is the bare minimum. Like, it gives you access to the skills and the base stats. So if you can, and you should, because the first level only costs 5, the second only costs 10, so it needs 15 of these items. Now, you are going to have to play smart, and I'm going to tell you how to get them, but this is the bare minimum. At least at level 2, it's usable, and it gives you something. Now, every level afterwards will give you more and more. At level 3, you're going to get skill level 2 here. Level 4, you're going to get level 2 here. So, around level 4, level 6, level 8, those are the skills you're looking to reach. Those are the milestones you're looking to reach. And it doesn't have to be your Zoe as a level 10, but if you're bringing her at least to level 4 or 6, well, it will give you a decent boost. So as I said, as a free-to-play, you'll try and get 1 per generation. So you should focus as much as possible on defensiveness. So usually, obviously, if you're free-to-play, you're not going to have Amadeus. So that means that in Season 1 or Generation 1, you could get Sol and you could get Jable, and that would be a choice. In my opinion, personally, I might go for Jable. Maybe go for Jable's widget. She's very good defensive and she'll stay good for quite some time. Now, in Season 2 or Generation 2, you're going to get Zoe, you're going to get Marlin, and you're going to get Hild. Now, if you went for Jable, don't go for Hild. If you went for Sol, then you might want to go for Hild. But in my opinion, you should go for Zoe. Zoe is their first good tank and she's on the wheel. So that means that in Generation 2, you'll go for Zoe, level up the widget as much as you can, level 2, level 4, whatever you can if you're a spender, 6, 8, 10, because then you would basically ignore Marlin, because you're not a rally leader, you're a low spender here, and then you would ignore Hild because maybe you did go for Jable, or maybe you go to Assault, depending. Of course, it's gonna vary a lot for people, but you're going to really bottom line go for one hero per generation. Generation 3 comes out. Well, do you want to go for Petra? Are you a rally leader? Not really. Well, Eric is also a very, very good tank, one of the best for a long time. He replaces Zoe, but if you have a Zoe leveled up because she was on the wheel, well, then you're going to skip Eric. If you skip Sol in the first season, well, then that's when you're going to go for Jaeger. So if you did Jable in Gen 1, Zoe in Gen 2, and then you go for Jaeger in Gen 3, well, by the time you go to Gen 3, you're going to have 3 heroes that are decent enough, that have a Garrison widget with some levels in them. Then you have a decent Garrison March. Then even if you're a low spender or free to play, you do have some value in a lot of events. And if people attack your city, you're going to beat other free to plays or low spenders that didn't max out their account properly and have all over the place kind of widget. Like, this is why you have to plan ahead, because these items are very hard to get. Now, how do you get more of these items? Well, first of all, of course, paying. So this gear pack here, you can see, you can buy it. It's pretty low value. Like, it's one of the only ways of getting it. So it's the only value you have, but it's pretty low value because it's very expensive for what it gives you. But this is the best way. You get 5, 10, and then 20. So basically $1 per item. So, I mean, it's expensive because you need hundreds to make a full widget. But the first level is 5, then 10, then 15, then 20. So, you know, with 40, 50 bucks, you can get a widget to level, 4 or 5. It's not too bad if you're a medium or low spender. Now, you also have this pack here that is going to be for the previous season. So this is in this pack here. And you see this is S2. So I could buy the previous generation's widget. So again, this is another way of getting, catching up. You also will have a lot of events. So for example, Hall of Heroes is a very good one. Now in this Hall of Heroes, I am on Gen 3. So this is the Gen 3 Hall of Heroes. So it gives me the Eric Shard and it gives me other heroes before, as well as widgets from Season 2. So this is where I could buy previous widgets from Season 2, as well as Season 1. So this is going to be a way to get widgets from heroes you didn't get in the past. And this is something you can get these tokens by buying 100 of these for gems, and it's very high value. This is one way that if you don't spend any money, but even if you do, the first 2 packs I think are pretty good value, at least the first pack. But then buy this, and then this is something you can catch up on heroes and get widgets for past heroes. Champagne Fair, also probably the best event for widgets. Now the first few months of your game won't be as good, but eventually you get to a point where all of your extra, like all of these heroes, when they're max, you can trade them here, and then you get these tokens. Then you can trade the tokens for current widgets, last 2 seasons widget as well. So again, you can see I bought mine because this is really, as a free-to-play and low spender, this is going to be your main source of widgets. That and the Buccaneer event. The Buccaneer event is also extremely high value for spending, but also for free-to-play. A lot of widgets to be had there. So you can see there's quite a lot of things here where you can get a little bit. But if you get just a little bit by little bit, like if you're a low spender, you're not going to be able to max every hero every new season. So you're going to be hanging on to older heroes for a little bit longer. So this is where, you can plan ahead and buy back stuff, and it's cheaper. Like this is more expensive than this one. So every time you go behind, it's a little bit cheaper, but eventually you will outscale it. So just things to know about all of this. There is a lot of places to get these for free. So make sure you don't miss out on any of them. Another place is in the shop down here. And this is probably the most important thing to get regular widgets. You can see here, these tokens you get by doing daily mission. You'll get very little of them, and it's going to take time. However, in this screen, sometimes there will be widgets. Now, the ratio for money, if you spend $5, you're going to get 2,500 token, and you're going to get this. So it's still $1 per widget. No issues there. But sometimes you'll see there's percentages. So I might spend a lot of gems here, but you'll see sometimes there's a percentage off. So I'm going to do it until I can maybe find it. I'm not going to spend too many gems here, but here, minus 20%, I could get 2 of these widgets for 400 instead of 500. So now it's $4 per 5 widget instead of, $1 a widget. You also can get lucky, and maybe I won't, but you can get it for a 50%. So this 50% could technically appear on the widget. This means that you're going to get 1 widget for half the price. So you are going to get enough of these mystery badge tokens to do this. Now, I don't know, I guess my luck is just not there, but it is going to be worth it. And this is the only thing you should be spending these tokens on. These mystery badge should only be reserved for widgets at 50%. If you're free to play, you're going to get enough of these to buy 1 every day or 2 days or 3 days, depending if you're lucky. Don't refresh too much, refresh, you know, for free because of the masters, and then maybe for the 100 gem maximum and every day, and then eventually you're going to get some. Like, I've gotten dozens of widgets since the beginning of the game with this, so it's really not a bad idea. And this is the only thing you use these tokens for. 50% off widgets. That's it. And this is going to be a steady but slow source of widgets, but they are the current season's widget, which is obviously much more valuable than the previous one. So here is an overview of how it goes by timeline for widgets. So you can see Helga, Amadeus, Jabo, and Saul. You see the little icon? This is sword. This means it's offensive. Defensive is the little shield. So Helga, Amadeus, the two only infantry offensive widget. So the only infantry rally leaders of Kingshot currently. Now Jabo, defensive. Saul, defensive. Next season, you're at Generation 2. That's 40-50 days in. Zoe, defensive. Hild, defensive. Marlin, offensive. So you can see a pattern. There's basically always 2 defensive and 1 offensive afterwards. You are Generation 3, 120 days-ish. Eric, defensive. Petra, offensive. Jaeger, defensive. So when you're looking at this list and you want to see what's the best current March for offense or defense, you look, let's say you're in Generation 3 like me right now. So you look at this line. Eric is the shield, defensive. He's the highest defensive hero available, so he has more stats, 290 versus lower than him, 240. This means Eric is best defensive infantry in Gen 3. Petra is offensive. You go one line down. Hild, now there you are defensive. So Eric, Hild, Jaeger. That's the best Garrison mix of Generation 3. Now offensive, you do the same thing. Petra is the only, so she's offensive. Now you go down. Marlin, offensive, so Petra, Marlin. Zoe, still defensive. Go down one more. Helga or Amadeus. So Marlin, Petra, Amadeus is the best. Second best is Helga instead of Amadeus. So this is the best rally lead March in the game at Generation 3. You go up one line. Alcar, Margot, and Rosa. Same thing. Alcar, Margot, go down because Rosa. So Jaeger. Alcar, Margot, Jaeger, best Garrison. Rosa, go down. Petra, go down, go down, go down. Amadeus. Rosa, Petra, Amadeus, best rally leading March in the game at Gen 4. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do them all, but you can see Longfade, Trud, Vivian. So Trud becomes the best rally here, and Longfade replaces Alcar as defensive. Then the next one here also defensive, defensive, offensive. So you can see a pattern. As I said, infantry, there is never an offensive one until Amadeus. Even Generation 7, which are not showed here, also are defensive infantry. So Amadeus still stays the best rally leader for a very long time. However, Longfei or Alcar, around this time, you can see that the stats that Longfei gives is 444. These heroes at the bottom is 200. So he has more than 2.5 times the amount of stats as Amadeus. So there is a time where the stats just are too much. Like the rally skill at the end of the day just gives stats, right? Like it's not like it gives a huge boost that is over 200% worth of stats. Now it is a very good boost because the percentages I think is multiplicative, which is why it's so good. But still, it's not 244% worth. So this is where Longfei kind of gonna replace for rally like attack, even on KVK and PvP and stuff like that. However, for Bear, I think Amadeus is still the best for a long time. Even I think after Generation 6 or 7, he's still the best because he's still the only one to offer that extra offense for the rally. The stats I think are really good, but the stats are both attack and defense. So defense is worthless for Bear. So the amount of boost that you're getting from the stats is not as much when you're just attacking a bear that doesn't attack back. So Amadeus stays one of the best heroes in the game for attacking bear for a very, very, very long time, if not forever at this point, until a new offensive infantry gets released, which will happen one day, but it might be 2 months or 10 years, so who knows. But this in general will give you a good idea of how it works, how to plan ahead and see when you're going to replace. So if you invest in Petra, well, you're not going to replace her as a rally leader until Trud comes out. Same as if you invest in Marlin, you're not going to replace him until Rosa comes out. So it gives you time before you have to replace them. Now also look at who's on the wheel. Marlin is buyable with general tokens, but not on the wheel. Rosa is on the wheel, so if you are going to go for an offensive and you're a low spender, well, the wheel's your best bet. So plan ahead like this. Longface on the wheel, Rosa's on the wheel. You can plan and make yourself a team. If you're going to be playing this game for a long time, planning ahead will make you stand out, even if you're a lower spender than people who didn't plan ahead, who spend more than. So this was a lot of information about widgets. Hopefully this helps clarify things. Just remember, widgets don't work for solo attacking. Only works for rally or defending, even solo defense. So defense is much more important for most people in the game. only rally leaders need rally widget. So arena conquest, very small importance compared to that, because again, whales only really, otherwise you're just going to be in the middle of the pack no matter what. But that is the only other place where widgets have an impact. So keep that in mind, plan ahead, invest in one hero per generation, or even skip a generation, and save up for the ones that really matter for your account and your role in the alliance that you're in. If you have any more tips regarding widgets, please share them in the comments below for everybody else. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.